Thanks again for tuning in to our Enlightened Conversations, where this season we are deep diving into some tough topics with our guests. I will also be sharing some enlightened conversations with my favourite intergalactic being, Ralph, from my book, Conversations with Ralph, as well as some new, never been heard of conversations with them. You hear it all here, real, raw and rare, and all shared in an enlightened way. Hi everyone, it's Michelle Lightworker here and welcome to Enlightened Conversations. I have the delightful Zapheria Bell here joining me today all the way from Miami over in Florida. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
It's been one of those things where I've been looking forward to for weeks, and I know we had to plan it out to like be in sync at the right time, but it just feels like from what I've noticed you talking about on Facebook and what I'm also going through in my journey has really been, I feel like a very symbiotic relationship from afar. And I just wanted
Mm.
to say, that even though we're so far apart and we've never met like in person, like, properly for a,
No.
chat or anything like that, it's an interesting experience to feel so closely connected to somebody.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, making time out of your schedule.
Yeah, it's an absolute honor to be here with you. I feel the same. It's interesting to have never met, but I feel like sometimes with people, you just, I don't know, you just have the connection and you have the relationship from afar. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you've met or you haven't. I think we've had just a couple of little interactions on Messenger, and I think that's about it. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
Um,
feels
I'm
feels
I'm not
aligned.
sure if you're the same person I met one time. Um, because it's so long ago, and I'm just wondering, did I meet you at a mind, body, spirit in Sydney somewhere or Brisbane or something? Were you doing dancing? Did we meet? Was
Oh,
that no?
we might have. It's
Yeah,
very possible, or Seven Sisters, maybe something like that.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
very possible.
it's an interesting thing when you're kind of swimming in the same consciousness and circles.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually matter sometimes. Did you meet in person? Didn't you? And I know a lot of people struggle with the whole they have to have the in person meet. And to be honest, sometimes
Mm.
the in person meet can get in the way. And I like just to connect with the energies, which is it transverses the physical here. So I love it.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely, me too.
So, for anybody who doesn't know this delightful being, Zapheria, she has been at the leading edge of emotional clearing and womb work for a decade. At the core of all her offerings is the ability to free people from the pain and suffering of the past and point them in the direction of their soul's true calling. Zapheria is an advocate for everyone having the opportunity to be fully themselves in this crazy world we live in. This wonderful being of light, Zapheria, is connecting us back to the sacredness of ourselves and supporting the collective in raising the vibration of humanity. She's also been the creator of the spiral and created the womb spiral with the support of Dane Tomas as well. And she has been training womb spiral practitioners, of which there's more than 20 now, to be
Mhm.
fully qualified. And so welcome, welcome, welcome. You've just done an amazing job of all your beautiful, beautiful offerings to the world. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you, and I just wanted to correct one piece, the spiral's created by Dane, and him and I created Womb Spiral together,
Oh,
just
thank you so
so that's
much.
clear for
Yes.
people. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes. And so I guess the thing that's drawn me to you, there's three things that's drawn me to you at the current time. The first one is the concept of ecstatic living,
Mhm.
that I'd love to chat with you about, and I'm a high advocate of. Sign me up. The second one is the fact that at the moment you're traveling intuitively, and I'd really love to chat with you about that. And the third
Mm.
one was your very open and honest post on open relationships, and I just feel like the topic of that can be really hard for people to particularly
Mm.
fathom. And I think
Yeah.
it's interesting I'm being drawn to your energy because I have been sharing a bit from my book Conversations with Ralph, which is all about meeting an intergalactic being who is actually a human being from another universe, which is actually our universe minus like in a few eons to in the future,
Mm.
which
Mhm.
which they're bodiless, but the main barrier that they have to moving in total integration is a base chakra issue, which is, and they don't have a physical body, but they still have to resolve all their base chakra stuff before they can do it, which is womb stuff that you probably work on with the spiral, which
Mhm.
is relationships and all the dynamics around the base, and especially with open relationships, traveling, which is about not having any physicality, and like, you're very physical, but you're not, you're having to really
Yeah.
be fluid. And which really, it stops us, a lot of those things stop us from having an ecstatic life. So I'm
Mm.
really super charged on talking with you about those things, because it all just feels so in sync with
Mhm.
I think is the gritty part of life, the hardest parts. Does that make sense? It's a lot.
It makes total sense, and I feel like it is the most challenging parts for people to live necessarily in this way, and
Yeah,
also it challenges people sometimes even to hear that other people are living in such an unusual way,
yeah,
because it requires actually letting go of everything. And
yeah,
that can be really scary for people, but actually in that letting go, there's the most incredible liberation, and that's really how I'm managing to live an
yeah.
ecstatic life.
Well, there
That's
you
where it
go.
all
So it
goes.
is connected, isn't it? It's an
Yeah.
interesting thing. And I mean, look, it's not a new concept, with like, how the Buddhists talk about the art of non-attachment, and
Mm.
they're really big on that. I think that's one of their biggest ones. It's almost like, don't be attached to your pain, Pain and suffering is it exists, but don't be attached to it. It's almost like, be a free being to be able to watch that without being it. And I
That's
think yeah,
yeah, I feel like that's a lot of what have been learning to do for, I guess, the last decade with doing all of the emotional clearing work. It really came to that place of like, okay, so if you've let go of so much of your conditioning and programming and stories, what comes next and what is possible now? And it is the non-attachment. Actually, before coming on this trip, so I came back to Australia and I gave away everything that was in my storage in Byron Bay. That was
yep,
a
amazing.
wild ride. So that was now like 3 months ago or something. And
Hmm.
yeah, it really is that lesson in don't be attached to not even only the physical things, but don't be attached to outcomes and expectations of life either.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And it doesn't mean that we can't like plan the goals and get excited,
Yeah.
because I know, like, being a bit of a list writer and a schedule setter and a box ticker and a to-do list person, and it's like such an achievement, and to get all through those things, it's great. That's fine. But also you can be both, and you can be, yay, I really enjoyed
Yeah.
the yay, I celebrate that. I succeeded that. Yes, 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 and watching people do that too, like every single little step of the way. But then also being able to also, yeah, be in that space of, but hang on a sec, but this happened instead, and not seeing it as a slap in the face from the universe, as
Mm.
you doing something wrong, but more, okay, hang on a sec. Well, maybe there's this other thing that you could be doing instead. And you hadn't thought about it because you were so attached to that other thing, and it's kind of giving you a bit of a reframe on what maybe
Mhm.
where to go, like point in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That is 100% how I feel. And
Yeah.
interestingly, on this trip, I have had some intense lessons in that, which is interesting.
Mm,
I'm literally about to tell you something that I haven't told anybody. So there we go. Why not just announce it to the world
please.
before I tell anyone about it? But whilst I've been on this trip, really following the current, following the ecstatic current and following the lightning, and everything was amazing and everything was lining up so perfectly. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I had this hit to go to Milan, and I got to Milan, hated it, got depressed, didn't know why I was there. I was there for 10 days and just the messages weren't coming on why I was there. And then I had
Hmm.
a bunch of financial things happen. And suddenly, for the first time in 25 years, I was in a position of like, oh, I don't have as much money as what I thought I had. And I'm
Hmm.
now hanging by a string thinking, oh, whoa, like life can really go to rubbish really, really quickly. But I had to
Hmm.
sit in that and think, okay, so is this feeling depressed state and this state of a lot of fear, like real fear around money, is this because I lost connection with the ecstatic current, or is this actually the ecstatic current? And it took me probably a few days of sitting in it thinking, oh no, I disconnected and I didn't listen
Mm-hmm.
properly and I didn't get the message. And then suddenly having to go, oh, hang on a minute. This is the message. This
Yeah.
is the gift. So it
Yeah.
doesn't always look the way I guess we expect it or we want it to look. And I feel like it's important to share that because it can be easy to watch someone like, me flitting around the world and doing whatever and to think, oh, it's all fine for her and everything lines up. And it's like, no, actually there are some really very challenging moments that feel like a slap in the face. But then as I've stepped through them, they've been the most potent gift that I could have had in the whole trip.
Yeah. And it's sometimes it's the crunchy bit. It's like, oh, that stung. And it's almost like we get better at the sting turning into the gift quicker. But
Yeah.
sometimes the sting stings more than another one, and then one other one that's easy. Ah, yeah, whatever. It's and it's challenging that belief that we're not having the perfect experience that we need to be having at that moment, and
That's
that's
right.
it's always the perfect moment.
That's right. And I feel like that's a really challenging piece for a lot of people to wrap their head around as well, is that
Mm.
we think that it should all be roses and rainbows and butterflies if somebody's living their
Yeah,
life in the correct spiritual way. But actually that's just rubbish and it's not true at all. And I feel
yeah,
like people hearing that and understanding like where you are in your life is actually absolutely perfect and it's leading you to the next thing,
I
whatever that
agree.
might be.
Yeah,
Mm.
100%. Like, on we literally just this morning got like quotes for something to be repaired, um and we know that the particular thing, like if we were just going to do it ourselves on this property we have, it would only cost us like hardly anything, like maybe, I don't know, maximum $500. It's just like a
Yep.
like, filling in some cracks on a wall kind of thing. We know we've already had the building inspector check it. It's all fine. It's just a little crack in the thing. It needs to be. But we got $3,000 quote back, and then we were like, what? And then we got a $1,500 quote back, and we're like, because we challenged it, and we said, did this person
Yep.
even go out and have a look at this? And then we're like, okay, we got a 1,500, and then we got another quote, and it was about the same 15, but it was like all these other cracks in the house that we didn't even know about. And we're like, what? Like we didn't even ask for that, and we're like, hang on a sec, what's the bigger message here? Because we were, I know this might sound like a really, I don't know, you might say, oh, this isn't relevant. But for us, it was totally relevant because we were like, well, hang on a sec. Are we meant to have this property?
Mm.
Like we were actually starting to question if we're meant to have it. And we're big on
Mm.
not selling, but we're like, hang on a sec. We're about to embark on overseas travel. We're about to, I haven't announced this either. This is now being formally announced for the first time. We are actually, I've already been retired and this is my hobby, but my husband's actually retired. In November, he's going to be retiring. So we're
Ooh.
actually going to be heading off, putting all our stuff in storage that we have in our home in one room and renting out the home. And we're just going to go, and we don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're just going to do what you're doing at the moment and just start to do that. And we're going to call ourselves Yes Mads. So saying
Oh.
yes instead of no to life. So yes,
Oh.
madding it. So yes, it is important to us as to what we do with this home and what the universe is saying for us to do, and whether we need to be selling it, or whether we need to be considering
Mm.
selling it, and potentially not now, but potentially once we get these things fixed, and that maybe you got to feel into that. We're not sure.
Mm.
So we're in that, we're feeling into it. But if we were to
Mhm.
have the black and white thinking, and if we were to have the fear-based thinking, we would be on a different tangent. We'd be going,
Yeah.
oh, why the, getting angry. Like, why the, excuse me, but why
Mhm.
the fuck is someone quoting us $3,000 something we know we could just put on Airtasker for $500 or something
Yeah.
max? Why the fuck are we being shown when we know it's only we've only had a picture of one wall? Are we being quoted for all these other things? Like
Mm.
maybe the universe is trying to tell us, give us a clue and say, hey guys, this needs to be dealt with. And maybe you're meant to sell this house and
Mhm.
do something else. We don't know, but maybe we'll buy somewhere over in Europe, Zapheria. Maybe we'll do that.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that
Maybe.
be
Who
fun?
knows?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe Europe's calling, or maybe,
Maybe.
some other place in the world. You actually have
Mm.
a place over in Bali too, don't you?
I do. Yes. Yep. I have
Mm.
2 properties in Bali actually. So I ended up living in Bali for 4 years during the whole kind of lockdown period. We were there, the flights were about to leave, and of course, they're getting the emails saying they're about to cancel your flights, and my partner and
Wow.
I stood there in the kitchen, and he's like, "What do we do? The last flight that we can get on is going to Australia like tomorrow. We're going to pack up." And I stood there and felt into my womb, and I was like, "Oh, no, we have to stay." "Oh, I am staying." And he's like, "Well, I trust your womb more than I trust my head. So I'm staying too." And we ended up in the most beautiful situation for 4 years there. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
amazing. Ah, that's
yeah.
awesome. Wow. Yes, I love that. I love that. I love that womb, that intelligence of the womb. It's very grounded.
Mm,
And
and
the flip side though of what we're talking about is, once you're grounded, you're fluid. You're not attached. There's a
yes.
there's a real paradox happening there as I'm talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel that's how I've managed to be where I am now, of living in this very fluid way of no idea what's happening next, because I've spent a decade working with the womb. I've spent so much time really being deeply connected to my body. So I've released the old stories so that I feel safe to be fully here and fully embodied and connected. When to me, embodied is not only connected to my body, but connected to the body of the earth as well, so that I'm able to tune in and feel her and be happy to fully be here, living this life in this
Mhm.
body on this earth. And it's like when I came to that place, there was this extreme freedom that came, I think, through the safety of, I know I am taken care of no matter what happens. And I know that she, the great mother, I know she's got me no matter what. Nothing like a worst case scenario, if I have to go and live in a forest somewhere and eat berries, like I'm going to be okay. And there's this depth of safety, and through that I think comes such a sense of freedom. And that's really how I've been managing to live in this, what I call following the lightning, following
Mm.
the current of where I'm being called, which is interesting that we were going to do this call a couple of days ago, and then the
Yeah.
hurricane came through. So then we postponed it to today. And then, like 2 hours before getting on this call, there was the biggest, it's the first lightning storm I've seen in so long. There was the biggest lightning storm, and we're here on the water. So I'm watching these huge cracks of lightning coming down. And that for me was just such confirmation of this had to happen today.
Wow, I
This is
love
like
that.
the lightnings here. Yeah.
It's the lightning has arrived, and we're supporting you all to follow your
Yeah.
lightning trail, because
Yes.
it is like that, isn't it?
Mm,
It's like when you take one step, like one single little step, like towards that. It's like the
mm.
universe starts to open up, and even, I'm going to say, even to blockages, if your mind is aware that you're opening up, then you are going to be speaking to those blockages, that perceive with those perceived blockages that you have, and you're going to be talking to them and saying, what are you where are you trying to direct me here, instead of
Yeah.
having that frustration response of, I want what I want and I want it now and I'm not
Yeah.
getting it and I'm pissed at the universe. Instead of that, we go
Yes.
to a different place in our mind, in our heart, and sometimes we make it about other people too. You freaking person, why are you in my
Mm.
way, and why are you stopping me doing what I'm doing? But hang on, what's that soul contract? What is the message behind that person trying to help you here with? Because there is always going to be something.
Absolutely. This whole trip for me, none of it has made any logical sense. And, I've had some experiences, like you've read from the post, and I'm sure we'll talk into it, but I've
Yeah.
had some experiences that also my head was like, what on earth? I would like, why would we do that? Why would I get on a plane and go to X place? Like, I had one experience in Portugal. I was in Lisbon, and suddenly I was like, no, I need to go and get on the train and I need to go to Porto. But I knew people in Lisbon and I didn't know anybody in Porto. And I'm thinking, what on earth am I doing? Okay, I'll go get on the train. I'm sitting at the train station, and one of my closest friends, I didn't know she was in Porto, messaged and was in and she's not the type of person that ever needs anything, and she was not okay and she needed support. And I was like, so my train
Wow.
arrives in 10 minutes and I'm on my way.
Far out. Oh my God, that is
No,
amazing. I love that. That's such a good
I
story.
know. And we
Far
arrived and
out.
we're staying literally 1 kilometer from each other. Like I arrived, put my bag straight into my Airbnb and I said, send me a map of where you are. I'm coming. Like I'll be there in a minute. Where are you? And it was walking distance.
Oh my God. Was this after Italy?
No, this was like at the very beginning of
Okay.
this is at the
What?
beginning of the trip when I really had first, I think that was the first full on call of following the lightning. And from that
Right.
moment, I was like, whatever
Yeah.
you tell me to do, I'm doing it. Like
Yeah.
I'm
And
in complete trust.
yeah, and that faith aspect, when those kind of things happen and we feel like we're so supported. Oh my God, this had to happen. Oh my God. I mean, I remember bumping into somebody that I worked in at child safety. Um, and I bumped into them in Rome at the Vatican. Like they were like, I didn't even know they were holidaying at the same time. It's like, yeah, wow. And I always seem to bump into this person when I'm meant to travel, and they're a person who likes to travel. So it's kind of they always appear to validate my travel. And I I just think after that, when you had the Italy experience, it's kind of almost like, hang on, and that was so easy. Why is this so hard? It's almost like we get in our own heads sometimes as to, hang on, it should be this way all the time, right? Um, but
Yeah.
but the other is just as important. And and you've since you learned why. You probably will months from now more even know more why that all happened as well financially.
Yeah, exactly. I know it needed to happen. Actually, I needed to open and accept support because I'm such a
Ah,
independent, strong-willed person who never ever says that I need help. I'm always one helping everybody else, giving to everybody else. And actually, the person that I had the experience with, who I shared in that post, they ended up giving me some money. They were like, "Oh,
mm,
are you okay? Like, can I," they offered, "Can I send you some money?" And I was like, "No, no, no, absolutely not. No, I'm completely fine." And they were like,
mm.
but are you really completely fine?" And I went, well, I'm actually really stressed out. I'm staying in a
Yeah.
hostel. I don't really feel completely comfortable. And they were like, well, send me
Yeah.
your bank account details. And they paid some money. And what that did was
Mm.
it was more than the money. That changed so much. I felt my whole inner workings begin to shift and change. I felt my entire story around money actually change, and my capacity to open and receive, because I was in this state of I can do everything by myself and also not open to receiving.
I'm
And
getting
once I've
tingles.
opened, yeah, it's like once I've opened that and been like,
Mm.
oh my God, I can receive a total gift from somebody,
Oh,
suddenly everything changed.
I love that so much. That is so beautiful. I want a
Yeah.
bit teary about that. That is
Yeah.
amazing, huh? Oh my goodness. How
Yeah.
one, yeah. And all it was like the universe setting it all up for that to happen before it happened, right? So then, oh my God.
I know, totally covered in goosebumps because the
Same.
universe set up the entire experience of, yeah,
Oh,
it's been a
phenomenal. I
wild
love
ride.
I love those stories. And have you got any other stories that have stuck out to you that you'd like to share, like on that? I'm all ears. I love to hear
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it.
it's interesting. I feel like sharing because I've now mentioned a couple of times the post. And so people will be going,
Yeah.
what is
What
the
post?
post that what did she do? What did she share about?
Mm,
So obviously a lot of things I'm thinking like where to start, but a lot of things about going on this trip were very obvious that I needed to go to Europe, and it didn't make a lot of logical sense to me. But three friends of mine separately, without me having sessions, who are all psychic, said to me, oh, you're going to meet a man. You're going to Europe to meet a man. Like you are going to Europe to have an experience of love unlike you've ever experienced before. And I was thinking, I'm actually really happy being single. I kind of need to, whatever, it's fine. Didn't really fully listen to them. Anyway, after Portugal, I really was so happy in Portugal. And suddenly there's this lightning, go to Estonia. And I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm like, okay, listen, listen, listen. So I get on the plane to go to Estonia. The first day that I arrive into, I was at Mind Valley. And the first day that I arrive, I don't talk to people, by the way. I might seem like I'm not shy. I'll talk to people if they talk to me, but I'm super shy in like social settings. And someone came up and talked to me, and we just hit it off straight away and started talking for hours actually. And he said to me, oh, like wife is psychic, and she said to me, she rang me yesterday and said, oh, tomorrow you're going to meet someone and you're going to fall in love with them, and I want you to know that it's okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is someone who's been married for 22 years, never
Wow.
ever considered anything outside of the marriage. And I think
Mm,
even he was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever,
whatever.
same as me.
Mm,
Same as me. And it turns out he had also had a dream. So I knew I was coming to Europe to meet somebody. He
mm.
had also had a dream about the woman from Australia who came to him in his dream and said, get out of your bedroom. Like you need to come. And so they didn't want to be at this event. And then suddenly he's at this event. He wasn't planning it. I wasn't planning it. We meet each other. And even still, I'm thinking, like, this is beautiful. What a lovely, friend to meet. But we talked nonstop all day and all night for 4 days,
Wow.
nonstop, completely and utterly inseparable. By the time it got to the final night of this event, which was like 5 days later, we were
Mm-hmm.
completely in love with each other in a
Mm-hmm.
way that I have never experienced before, and that he had not experienced before either. And both of us are thinking, this is not done. Like, you can't you can't do this. He's married. Like, anyway, he goes home. He meets with his wife. His wife's known about this the whole time. And they both say, why don't you come to Zurich? That's where they live. Why don't you come to Zurich? Come and see us. I'm like, this is weird. So next I'm flying to Zurich, getting picked up by him, getting taken to his family home to meet his wife, who is instantly like, I love you, and hugs me and is like so incredibly welcoming. She's like, the three of us have created this. The three of us, whatever this is something so much bigger than the three of us. And I'm fully 100% in and supportive of your relationship with my husband.
Wow. Uh,
Like,
That's mind
this
blowing.
is, it is, because this is not people who are in the open relating field. This is not their world.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not
No,
what they
this is
do.
more
This is
psychically knowing and connecting and the energies. They're just trusting it. Yeah.
totally. This
That's
is just like
amazing.
normal people. And so
Yeah.
the
Normal
experiences
people.
that the three, yeah, normal people.
It's like, it's not like, oh yeah, everybody's trying to orchestrate some kind of third, unicorn in their
Yes,
relationship or something. It's just, this is just
exactly.
evolving organically, and they're just following the lightning.
They've completely following the lightning. So in comes this whirlwind into their life and completely turns their life upside down. But for the three of us, life has completely changed. Their marriage is deeper.
Mm.
Their love is deeper. Their communication is more than they've ever had in their entire lives. They're both having more freedom than they've ever experienced. Like, so much opened up for them through this experience of this whirlwind
Wow.
coming into their life. And who knows, I'm now in a different country, and I don't know. None of us know what any of it means, and we don't
Yeah.
need to know what it means. And
You're
I
not trying
think
to work it out.
that's the
Yeah.
piece. Not at all. Like, I don't think that any of us can work it out. All we can do is realize that there's a deep love here, and that we are in service of one another, and that
Mm-hmm.
something is opening for all of us throughout this experience, and that's a
Yeah.
gift, and a gift for us to share. Like, that's the other thing amazing to me, is they're both encouraging me to talk about it. They're like, talk
Wow.
about it, write a book, do podcasts,
Mm.
do whatever you want, like, talk freely and openly about this, because
Yeah.
it's a gift for other people as well.
Yeah, it is. And I think all relationships are there to bring healing, whether we think they are or not. So, whatever level we take that relating will be the right level for that healing. And we can either work it
Exactly.
out, and some people are just the perfect person to come along to help us to work that bit out that we need to heal. And whether we're in a relationship or not, or what have you. And so I think that helps people to understand where you're coming from as well, because this is not about what can I possess, or either side. I'm not getting that
No.
energy whatsoever. And a lot of relationships are about that. You're my stash, you're my possession, you're my security
Mm,
blanket, you're my base chakra, basically. And so it's about not like, having those expectations that that's what that person symbolizes, but they are
mm,
callous, like for your healing, and whatever level, whatever energetic centers. Sounds like it's
mm.
an absolute. I'm getting a lot of heart chakra energy here, Lovely that you're
Yeah.
wearing that beautiful green today.
I
I,
know. I
I
know.
really feel that so much healing on the heart and the throat. I
Mm,
think speaking and same
mm,
with them too. Yeah, like you said, their communication has improved. It
mm.
feels like it's really dusted out some cobwebs for them. And wow, like you're such a gift to them as much as I'm sure that whole experience has been a gift for you. I feel like you've just been something that has been a catalyst for incredible healing for them. So that's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's been, I mean, they have a son as well, and they've been
Mm,
completely open with their son about it. And even their
yeah,
son now says like things have changed for him and his relating because he's seeing things
yep,
differently and he's understanding life on a different level. And because everybody's been open and honest with everybody, nothing's been under the table. Like she's read every text message I've sent to him. And it's like
yeah,
just because he wants to share, not because of anything else. And it's like there's this capacity for so much more love. And I feel like sometimes people can hear that story and think, oh my God, yeah, like base chakra stuff about my own, oh, it's my relationship, my marriage, my person. And I feel like that when we shake that up a little bit is when we can really come into the heart. Because when we're loving from that place of like, it's mine, neither person actually has any freedom. And when we can and just soften into it, there's so much more love available for everybody.
100%. And you
Mm.
know, not everybody, and I just want to put it out there to everybody listening that not everybody can do that this lifetime, and that doesn't make
Uh,
you know anyone
no,
better than anyone else. It's
no.
only appropriate to have that if you feel called and if it feels ready and right. And it's not an
Yeah,
expectation that everybody should be doing that from us. I don't believe this very and
no,
and I just feel like you just if it's not your lightning to follow, don't follow it. You know, it needs to be right
yeah,
and feel right like it did for you. And I know.
absolutely. If someone told me before I went, like, you're going to have this experience, I would have said, no, I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm not open to that experience. So,
Yeah,
do you know,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, it
definitely. Yeah.
definitely is not for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, and just from my own personal experience, and I've had experiences within my marriage with other people as well, just to for full transparency there, because I come from acknowledging my bisexuality, and you know that's been something that's been really healing for us, and I haven't felt the need to do that, but there's been opportunities where it has happened, where it's felt always mutually. There's always boundaries that you discuss. You don't even know what your boundaries are sometimes before you cross them, and that's fine too. So there's a lot of setting up of not rules but boundaries to respect each other and understand each other, which is free because within the structure of an agreement, you feel there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no whatever you feel is right for you,
Mm.
and you don't want to do it to in at the same time stepping over someone's boundaries. That doesn't feel good. It's not a heart space.
No,
So I think
no.
there's always like shades of things that we all in our own sexuality or in our own relationships and our own healing for our base and all those things. Yeah, giving ourselves permission and giving our partners permission, I think, is with those understandings and those agreements to however we
Mm.
understand them at the time. I think is great. Are you still in a relationship yourself? Like you know how you said you were in a relationship in Bali with the person before?
No, no. So we separated in November. So I was completely single and free, which sometimes I
Yep.
think is even more of a threat for
Yep.
somebody to open to that. But I
Yep.
mean, I have messages from her today telling me how much she loves me. So so we're
So it's so beautiful, isn't it?
yeah,
Wow.
we're definitely all good. But I feel like there's for this piece of following the current and following the lightning and following your heart and allowing this sense of freedom, for some people might literally look like, hey, I would love to go away for a week on my own. Like for some people,
Yeah.
bringing that to their marriage is scary, is to say,
Mhm.
like, would it be okay if I just go for like a week by myself? Just whatever it is that wherever that kind of call is pulling you for a sense of having your own inner freedom, to me, that's the gift. And it's not about how that presents in the world.
Yeah, I've done that myself. I took myself to Uluru once, and you know, that was an amazing experience. Just to experience that on my own. And not in this current relationship. In this current relationship, I find that the travel I do I'm growing more with my person than without, which is, but in other relationships I have, I've actually had to go away. I've literally felt like if I don't go away, I'm going to suffocate. Something's dying. And so like I need to go. And then I've had these major breakthroughs and I've brought them back and they have either improved the relationship or split the relationship apart because I've done so much growing, which is what I was called to do. And I've brought that back and I've extended the invitation and that hasn't been like
Mm.
reciprocated. The energy has, it's almost like, no, this beautiful planet has so much of an impact on me when I travel to different aspects. I feel like there is something, and I think that's why this calling is so strong with this retirement to be yes mats, because it feels like there's so much more, even though I know my sole purpose has been to help people to understand and activate their own enlightenment and to grow. I feel like when I do that now, because I've accomplished, the 11 books and the training courses and all the things, and I've done all the
Yeah.
things. My legacy's here. I've done it. Take with it what you want. But for my soul growth to continue, I need to go and meet where the lightning is for me. And that will feed back Earth. That would feed back humanity. I'll
Yes.
find a way to share it in a way that I feel is both for humanity, but also for my soul growth as well. It won't be about
Mm.
impressing anybody. It won't be about, I don't
Mm.
know how it looks. I'm a bit like you with this whole relationship thing. I feel towards this next stage, I don't know how it looks, and that's okay. I'm at peace 100% with it. I love that I don't know actually.
Yeah. There's actually a freedom in the not knowing.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's just the letting go and the surrendering and just seeing where you're supposed to be. And if you follow your own like nourishment of your own soul, to me, that already is a gift back to humanity anyway. Because
Yeah.
it, as you already know, as we're shifting and moving our own frequency, we're constantly impacting the earth is just the same as she is with us, but we're constantly creating this collective field between ourselves and all the other souls and the world soul. And so you
Yeah.
following and nourishing your own soul already is just such an incredible gift to others anyway, no matter how it looks when you share it. It just is a gift, and I
It,
feel that for everybody. Like it doesn't
yeah.
always have to be out following our soul's gift. I think sometimes people can see people probably like either of us or other people who are out in the world and sharing our gifts and doing our soul's work. Sometimes people can think, oh, it has to look that way, but actually your own soul's work might be completely quiet for some person. It might be them walking in the forest and connecting with the trees and connecting with the earth, and nobody ever knows that it happened, but that was them living so deeply aligned to their soul's purpose, fulfilling. I see it like one big puzzle, and we all hold the different pieces, and like, you need to hold your piece. It's not mine to hold, and I need to hold my piece, and each
Yes.
soul needs to live their part of the story, however that looks.
Yeah, absolutely. And your next soul lightning growth. So how long are you over in Miami for? And have you got plans and have you not? Tell me more about your journey, about your next
Yeah,
soul.
so
Yeah, I want to know this. I want to know everything. Tell me anything you know. Tell me. And also tell me about your book that you want to write and everything. I want to know all of it.
So I'm in Miami visiting my parents, and so I am planning to actually stay still for a month, which I must
Mm.
admit, after 3 months of just really not knowing where I'm going to be tomorrow, it's very nice to just
Yeah,
and
breathe out.
stop
Mm.
for a minute and let go of everything, kind of be in a normal state. So I'm
Yeah,
doing that for a month, but after that I have no idea. My
yeah.
plan originally was already to be back in Bali by now. So,
Mm, mm.
I just miss my dog, really. That's the only reason
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Bali. So
That's
yeah,
that's
I've
why
got
we don't have pets anymore because it would just be too hard. I'd be like, yeah, as much as I wouldn't want to worry, I'd be worried and are they okay and all
yeah.
that jazz. And I've tried to adopt that sort of mentality that all the animals of this whole world are there, for me. and to really acknowledge them. Like today, we're talking to the
Mm.
bin chickens on our walks and stuff, and
Yeah.
just stuff like that, and the crows and the reptiles that come out to sun themselves, and we have chats with them, and just to be more in that sort of fluid relationship with animals, and
Mm.
rather than have them as a pet, because it is, yeah, in that kind of sort of nomad or yes-matic living. I feel like it would be a real challenge to have that. It's almost like an anchor I have to come back to all the time, that I don't want the pressure of.
Yeah, to be honest, that's the one thing that I'm still attached to. I've managed
Yes.
to, be not attached to physical things and,
Yeah.
had that experience now with the money. So it's like I'm not attached there. And my
Yeah.
family are used to me just doing my own thing. But the dog, I can't. It's my one thing.
Yeah.
Like he saved my life. So quite literally. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty attached there.
I
But
must admit, when my 12-year-old pet died many moons ago, I had him for ages. Um, I felt like he was more around me everywhere I went, and I was like,
mm,
"Oh wow, this is different." I didn't expect to feel this way, but I feel like he's always with me, and that's been a really nice thing to realize,
mm.
that him transitioning was actually of service to me again. I was just like, "Oh my god, how faithful is a dog, right?" It's like,
I know. Well, the thing is, I'm sure that this dog is actually my dog from 10 years ago. So I'm
ah,
sure that he came back. And what's interesting was that was more than 10 years ago now. I was married at the time. So 20 years ago.
mm,
Um, I had to leave that dog in the marriage for a
yeah,
bunch of reasons. And then now I'm sure that it's the same soul that's come back to me in dog form. And then I've left him again.
yeah,
I promise it's not forever, but there's obviously a lesson that we have to learn there. So,
yeah,
so I don't
yeah,
know. I know it's all
yeah,
perfect. So yeah, I have no idea like where I'm going, what I'm doing. I know that my book, Ecstatic Living, like this is my second book.
mhm.
It's been trying to birth through me now for 2 years, and it keeps on being like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. There's something more, like you're not ready, really. And after this experience, it's like, oh no, okay,
Oh,
now you
cool.
get it. Now you get what ecstatic living is. I thought I had it before. Do you know when you have those moments of like, I
Yeah,
thought I had it. And
yeah,
actually it was going to be called something else. And now it's now it's ecstatic living. So
ah,
it's starting to flow through, and really a lot of my just everything, my attention is shifting to supporting people in what does it mean to live an ecstatic life, and
yeah,
how do we tap into our own ecstatic current and the ecstatic current of the earth and the lightning. Like, how do we move with that in the world to live a very different life? And I guess some people could think, ecstatic living means just joyful and happy. And yes, that's part of it, but it's not only that. Obviously, from the stories that I've shared, I see that as ecstatic living as well. Even my moments in Milan of being like, this is rubbish and I don't like it,
yeah,
I'm still in an ecstatic living state. And I
yeah,
really am so excited to share with people that there is a different way that we can choose to live our lives, and it feels incredibly alive. To me, that's the thing is, and even actually that experience that I shared just before with the couple, one of the things that he tells me almost every day is I suddenly feel so alive. Like there's more emotion probably active in all of us, but in that emotion is such an aliveness, and in the not knowing and the capacity to surrender to life, suddenly life is something with it's richer, it has more flavor, it has more texture, it's like nourishing in such a different way. And so
yeah.
yeah, I'm so excited that this book is finally it's finally coming through.
Oh my God. And as you were sharing, I had this analogy drop in, like as you're sharing, like, usually where, we can describe ourselves when we're not healed as the walking wounded, right? Well, like, walking around wounded and everything hurts and everything is like, ow, 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 ow. And we're sort of got our guards up and we're avoiding the pricks of life, literally. And, but what I got about your book, and happy for you to, if you want to include this is fine or not,
Mm.
whatever. But the visual I got was where the walking womb. So we
Ah.
are the womb,
Mm.
and we are the
Mm.
creators, but we're also able to take in, like, we we take life in, and
Yeah.
we grow it. So, it has
Mm.
to come in there somehow. We know how. Um,
Mhm.
and we provide the space for it, and we're the
Mm.
walking womb. And that creates an ecstatic life
Mm.
because everything's more alive. Everything, it's a mirror of
Mm.
how we feel. We're actually, creating life. And we're also,
Mm.
because we are creating life, we are actually able to feel and treasure the creations of life around us, and everything's more
Mm.
ecstatic. And so that's what I
Yes.
got, which is kind of cool. I
Mm.
never thought of that before. So
I love it. That's beautiful. For me, that's also bringing through, I sometimes in, I guess, in the spiritual field, there's this thing of like, you created it, you manifested the problems that are in your life, that kind of, it can be a little, I don't know, not super loving in the way that it's shared sometimes. But to me, just then what you were sharing around, birthing it through the womb, there is this flip side of like, well, you are co-creating your life and you are birthing it through your womb. And no matter what you birth, you're going to love it. Like it doesn't matter if it doesn't look the way you were expecting and it's not completely perfect. You're going to love it no matter what, because it is part of your own creation and something that you're bringing into the world. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And like, I'll go back to what you're saying before about how your travels are. You've been literally guided to do really quick decisions where I need to be and really follow those. And part of that is definitely the faith aspect of movement and trust and moving and da 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 da. But then you've got the being, I need to be here. This is what I need to, where I need to be. And
Mm.
I've had conversations with my hubby and said, look, there might be times we just want to stay somewhere for a month or more, and we're both
Yeah.
like, yeah, and that's cool too. And it's like that slow travel, or that slow nourishing, whatever's something might be germinating, being birthed there,
Mm.
and require that stoppage, but still being in the aliveness of everything in that particular zone, wherever that is. But I think that's
Mm.
also part of it. It's got like that yin and the yang of that lightning,
Mm.
and being able to like impregnate all the stuff in the stopping as well. Like, when we sit in our cave, and we need to be in our little cave time as a woman sometimes too. And so yeah,
Yeah.
there's no I have to be on the go all the time, or you know
Mm.
there's something I shouldn't have stopped for so long here, or that kind of judgment
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. For me, there's this capacity to follow the ecstatic current, which is the womb, and now also to follow. So I had already spent a month about 6 or 7 years ago following the ecstatic current, and then this trip was following the lightning. And for me, it's about
Mhm.
how can we, like, the ecstatic current is not fast moving.
Oh, I
It
love
might
that.
it might take a little while to move somewhere, but the lightning
Mm.
is like, oh, we're going now. Like, whoop,
Boom. Nah, we're
okay,
out of here. Yep.
whoa.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's if you can dance with both of those, I feel like that's the
Mhm.
sweet spot.
Yeah. And I loved it because I really felt it. Like, we'd planned to do this podcast on my Tuesday, and it's my Friday. I know you're a day behind, but I'm just going to say that we really trusted what was happening over in Florida. Your parents, with the hurricane and all the Wi-Fi, and was everything going to work? And we really trusted that there was the timing for us to get together. We needed to be with the current, and to be with the
Mhm.
staying. It felt right, like, just felt really nourishing to not have to. I felt really connected to your family in
Yeah.
that moment. I felt connected to the whole community. It was like instead of having a conversation at that moment, it was like the giving of the energy we would have had. I'm there. I actually woke up with it, and I messaged you straight away on that Tuesday. um,
Mhm.
the first thing I thought of was you. I just went, oh, and you weren't. I wasn't worrying about you. I just went, oh, I gotta see if she's okay straight away. And it was, wow,
Mhm.
it was really interesting how it was just coming in. And you sent me that video, and it was like, oh, wow, it's oh my god, it's like right there. How amazing! Like, just to tap into that and go, it's okay to delay, reschedule, and have that respect of each other's
Mm.
time, but still honoring
Mm.
the actual present situation.
Absolutely. I feel like when we can listen to that, like our conversation is something different than what it would have been a few days ago. And so
Yeah.
obviously the
Mhm.
conversation that needed to happen today is the one that's going to touch the people that need to hear it. And it's
Yep.
always perfect.
Yep, exactly. And I love that it was a super blue moon that we got to record on as
I
well. I was
know.
like, oh, we
I
got a super
know.
blue moon happening, got the lightning. And by the way, I don't know if you saw my Facebook, but when I had the super blue moon, which was in the same spot you're having the super blue moon, like right with the lightning, I posted my hubby and I went up on top of our rooftop. And if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see it. I posted a lightning rod to the earth. No kidding, on my Facebook page post, and it's like from the sky to the ground. And we were up there and we were taking pictures of the blue moon, but they had a storm rolling in on the other side. And Tony said, "Oh, I'm just going to try and capture some lightning." And he was waiting, and then it went, and then he pressed it and it went away. And then I said, "No, but I think you got it." And we looked at the picture and it was a lightning rod, and he got it the first take.
Oh
How's
my
that?
God.
I know, right? How's that for confirmation?
That is seriously amazing. I love it. I love it, love it,
I'm
love
gonna
it
have
so
to. I'm
much.
gonna have to message it to you after our conversation, so
Yeah.
it's you'll know the one
Yeah.
that I'm talking about. 'Cause it's,
Yes.
so if anybody has any doubts, that Zapheria is following the lightning, trust me, no, there's no doubt. Or the current.
Yep, the lightning is
Um,
with me.
we got the freaking full bloody high tides, moon tides. We've got the current. We've got everything
Yes,
going on. So if you've tuned
we got
into
the
this episode,
hurricane.
man, yeah, we've got the hurricane clearing all the shit away. So if you've tuned into and the blue moon, which is bringing all the releasing out, and
Yeah.
yeah, if you tuned into our episode today, you're all part of that. We know that you're listening for a reason, and that this is carrying through beyond you, because
Mhm.
we know that it carries through beyond us. Whatever we're feeling, when we feel faith, that's the gift we actually feed
Yeah.
everybody around us, whether they're wanting to bite or not. We are emitting it, and
Mhm.
that faith is the epitome of what I would say the base chakra medicine is. And if we have base chakra medicine and we're emitting it, we're healing the world, baby. We're healing all
Oh, yeah.
the darkness and all the craziness and all the fear and all the don't have enoughness, and we're healing it all. We're emitting it. We're like a big,
Mm.
huge, bright bulb of light that is just going, "Nyah," and people are going, holy crap. Like, yeah, I can feel it. Like, people feel it.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. As you're saying the big thing of light, I'm like, yeah, the lightning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. From heaven to earth,
Exactly.
baby. Boom. It's lighting it up.
Yes,
And
it is.
I if you have anything to ask me, I'm more than happy to answer. If you're happy to wrap it up, I'm happy. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to wrap it up. No questions are coming to mind, but I have a gift for all of your listeners
Oh
as
wow.
well. So yeah, I have a gift of a course called Elevate Your Life. So it's kind of like, the beginning process, I guess, of starting to understand that you can create life exactly as you would like it to be. So it's at I now created a website for it. It's
Yes.
enlightenedconversations.zapheriabell.com. So
Oh
they
wow.
can
Oh
go
my
there
gosh.
and
That is
yeah.
so cool. Oh, what a beautiful offering. And so, as part of you accessing the lightning of this beautiful podcast energy, you are also being invited to receive. And
Mhm.
thank you, Zapheria, for that beautiful offering. That's amazing. And please grab the opportunity, because, as you know, Zapheria is just an amazing, beautiful, bright spark of light that is uh, offering true goddess energy in this world right now. Thank you so much, Zapheria, for joining us today.
Thank you, darling. Thank you for being a soul sister out there in the world, doing the work and yeah, just shining your light. And it's been so beautiful to actually get to have a full conversation with you, even though I feel like it's been a very long time that we've had a connection across ethers. So
Yes. And
it's really lovely to connect properly.
absolutely feel that from my heart to yours as well. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be too attached, but I really do hope we get to meet in person in our nomadic, yesmatic travels across the globe. It will just be lovely to actually physically connect sometime. And we'll put it out there to the universe. No attachment, universe, but it would be nice. All right. We're just putting our little order in there. Well, I am anyway.
I'd be all for that. I would love that. You would get a very big hug from me and probably a squeal of excitement as well.
Yeah, and lots of clapping and jumping around from me and,
Yeah, totally.
and hugs. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Enlightened Conversations.
Thank you.